So we have learned a lot, much of it by trial and error, over the last couple of years about the better management of the computing resources we have on hand. We've explored different video encoding software solutions. We've looked at CPU encoding versus GPU encoding, AMD versus NVIDIA for GPU encoding, and we even lost almost all of our data in this video here when Wonix Server lost a RAID card. So, we are finally ready to take our edumacation by fire on the road. And the first stop is going to be our buddies at N3RDFUSION down in Seattle, where we will be dropping off this Storinator server. So let's get going then, shall we? TunnelBear is the simple VPN app that makes it easy to browse privately and enjoy a more open internet. To try TunnelBear for free, check out the link in the video description. So we're here. Now this actually isn't the first trip that's been made on account of this project. Matt Zagurski from N3RDFUSION actually made his way up to the frozen north about a month ago to do a tag team build of the final config. A pair of Intel Xeon E5 2697 V3 14-core processors, so that's 28 Haswell cores total. 128 gigs of DDR4 ECC quad channel memory, a Supermicro X10 DRI-T dual socket motherboard with 10 gigabit networking on board, and I'll explain why that's important a little bit further on, and 100, boy this thing is heavy, 100 terabytes worth of Seagate enterprise storage with available expansion bays for up to a few hundred terabytes more with their new 10 terabyte helium drives, thanks to this awesome Storinator that our friends over at 45 Drives whipped up for us. Can you guys actually help me with this? Thanks, Matt. Oh. So this is actually a customized version of their new Storinator. So it's got an extended ATX compartment instead of ATX, thanks for holding that for me, champ, as well as their new switch to 92mm fans in the front to make room for this LCD panel that lets you more easily diagnose failed drives. The last big change is the fact that the front panel can be entirely toolless. Well, it's okay, toolless, but screwdriverless if you don't screw that in. And all the drives can be installed and removed without any of that fancy bar holding down, top plates thing. It's all just like a friction mount now. We should get this thing inside.
We should.
But if you guys find yourselves asking yourselves, well, what would a bunch of Twitch streamers need with some kind of like uber mega server? You're probably not the only ones. So I'm gonna use this opportunity where we're hand delivering the server to walk through all of the different functions that this server is gonna be performing here at the N3RDFUSION headquarters, thanks to the magic of Unraid. Yes, of course, Unraid is making another appearance in Linus's server video. Surprise, surprise. So first and foremost, is the storage of archived Twitch streams. As some of you probably know, Twitch only allows even partners to store their streams for about 60 days on the service before it is deleted permanently. So this at 100 terabytes will be by far the largest storage server that they have in the building, which shouldn't be that surprising given the only other one that they have is there on that shelf and is awful, and will allow them to store about 1 year of archived footage for easy access to everyone who works here. I gotta figure out how to get out of here. Yep, that was easy.
Gymnast.
So use case number 2 is really cool and far beyond what you'd be able to do with a typical standalone NAS unit like we saw sitting in the closet. They're gonna fire up a Windows VM on the Unraid server, then they're gonna load an application called Wowza that is going to enable them to do a couple of different things. First of all, they will be able to save a 12 megabit full 1080p version of everything that they stream, and because that's not really optimal for Twitch, they will be able to live transcode that incoming stream onto the server to 4 megabit 900p, which is ideal for Twitch. This has a couple of effects. Number one is it gives them better quality footage to work with for VODs, or if they want to bring up a past broadcast for whatever reason during a live broadcast. And number two is with a little more magic within Wowza, it would actually enable them to have an off-platform, an off-Twitch, higher bitrate stream available for some of their biggest supporters. That's something that is not happening yet, but could be possible with this setup. Use case number two, and this is actually really cool, involves a second VM, this time Linux, running a program called Fog. It's a free open source cloning utility, and the point of it is that we're actually standing in one of their guest streaming rooms, so whether it's a remote employee who's in town for a while or someone coming in to do a collab stream from the office here, the point of it is to be able to take these guest streaming PCs and quickly and easily back them up or restore them to a previous state so that, you know, Alex's passwords or applications or whatever else are wiped off this computer and it's ready to rock for the next person who needs to use it. A second Linux VM is going to be set up as a dedicated Minecraft server just for the guys here within the office. Now, they already have one, but it's hosted at OVH up in Canada, which is a couple of problems. Number one is there's distance, which means things can go wrong with the link between here and there. Number two is that it costs money. If they host it out of here for people playing locally, then it doesn't cost any extra money other than this server that we're giving them anyway. And number three is that having it here on site in a VM means that they can just allocate more CPU and GPU resource to it as needed, because as some of you will know, Minecraft servers can be RAM and to a lesser extent CPU hogs. And let's face it, if your Minecraft server isn't performing properly, you could be having a worse gaming experience than if you were trying to game without Doritos. These aren't Doritos, these are Tostitos, and they're stale. So a third VM, we didn't really have anything to illustrate this because it'll be a year before they actually need one of these because that server is so huge. So a third VM is going to be responsible for taking the archived footage off of the hot storage and putting it into cold storage. So they're actually going to be picking up an auto-loading tape drive, which will basically, once footage reaches a certain age or the server reaches a certain amount of fullness, it'll take any of the oldest footage, dump it onto tape, label it, move it out of the way, and insert a new tape into the tape drive. Oh, cool. Okay, so the last thing they're going to be doing is replacing their current security system with like a 15 camera setup. This will actually be a second Windows VM. We're up to a total of 5 VMs that is going to enable them to do a couple of things. So number one is running, I think they were going to use something like iSpy or similar. So they're going to be able to have all those cameras keeping an eye on the employees who are, you know, fooling around instead of working. That's the idea, right, Matt? Yes. Yep, got it, yep. And second of all, they've actually talked about experimenting, at least maybe to try it once, with having a full-on live stream of everything that's going on in the office. A second use, aside from the whole video encoding thing, for the CPU power that our little server in the closet there brings to the table. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little look at all the things our fancy little server is going to do, and I guess sort of indirectly, what actually goes into running a Twitch streaming company, something that I bet a lot of you did not even realize existed. So let me know in the comments below if there are any other creators that you think would have use for, even if it's just storage, a server system like this, and if you'd like to see us try and hook them up. Squarespace lets you have an online presence as easily, simply, and quickly as you can possibly imagine. They've got 24/7 support via live chat and email to help you get your site online and working great. It costs just $12 a month to start, and you get a free domain if you buy Squarespace for the year. And all their beautiful templates feature responsive design, so your website scales to look great on any device. Commerce is included. Their logo designer is included. Cover pages is included. It's a feature that that lets you have a beautiful one-page online presence in minutes, and everyone can now publish content in Apple News format directly from their Squarespace blog module. They're always adding stuff like that to make your website more usable and easier to navigate. So if all that sounds awesome, start a trial with no credit card required and start building your website today. And when you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure you use offer code LTT, we'll have that in the video description, to get 10% off your first purchase. Woo! So thanks for watching, guys. If you disliked this video, you know what to do. But if you liked it, hit that like button, get subscribed, maybe even consider checking out the products that we featured today at Amazon at the link in the video description. Also in the video description, we've got our merch store where you can buy cool shirts like this one, as well as there's something else there. Right, link to our community forum, which you should totally join. Now that you're done doing all that stuff, you're probably wondering what to watch next. Don't miss the biggest lesson we learned about server stuff when we lost all of our data temporarily, but maybe I shouldn't have spoiled it. Whatever, there's a lot of suspense, and you can check that video out here.